for your body. And I want this workout to feel good for you. So please don't hesitate to take the option that feels best for your body. That way you can get the most out of this workout. So we will get started sitting down on the mat, and I'm going to join you guys back here. If you are just hopping on, all you need is space to lie down. So you can use a yoga mat, a beach mat, or a towel. So once you are seated comfortably on the mat, and you can sit with your legs crossed, you can sit with your legs out to the side, whatever is a comfortable seat for you, find that position. And allow your hands to just rest down on your thighs or your knees. And we're gonna start here, just getting connected into our body. So I think for a lot of us, this is the end of the day. Maybe we've had a busy work day leading up to this. Just take a moment to settle in and start to feel grounded down into the mat. So if you can picture the bony parts of your sits bones or your bottom, you want to just very gently rock front to back to feel the difference in weight on your sits bones. And then you want to find that position where you're sort of centered, where you feel your body weight is sitting right over your hips. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see here. So it's almost as though I'm sitting right up against the wall. From that position, using my hands, I'm going to gently roll my spine backwards and then lift my chest tall, let my back extend. Roll back, use the leverage of my hands to lift tall. So this should be gentle. We're just trying to introduce a little bit of movement into our spine, especially if you've been sitting a lot today. Use the pressure of your hands into your knees to open up your chest, to feel your heart shine forward, and then feel support as you sink backwards. We'll try about 3 more like this. And last 2. Good, guys. And 1 more time. And I'm going to just turn here. We'll settle right in the middle. Bring your hands to the sides of your ribs. And I want you guys to actually push into your rib cage with your hands a little bit. So you're compressing together. You feel that pressure on your ribs. Now, as you take a breath in, you can inhale and try and push your hands out of the way with your own breath. So big inhale, open up the ribs, and as you exhale, feel the 2 ribs glide towards one another. And maybe you give even a little bit of extra pressure with your hands. At your own pace, continue those inhale and exhale breaths, starting to move and open up your ribs. And you might find this really hard. Some of us are really stiff in our upper back. That makes this movement difficult, but just notice it for now. We go over this breathing in the beginning of class because this is how I want you guys to breathe while we're doing the exercises. And this is what helps you to get some of those deeper core muscles active. We'll do 1 more time here. Big breath in, exhale, let all of that air go. And then we'll set up for our first ab prep. So if everyone can come down onto your elbows, you want to set up sort of, I call this like the watching TV posture. So my elbows are right underneath my shoulders. I could sit here and sort of let my chest sag, but we're not watching TV, we're doing Pilates. So we're going to push the chest up tall and draw the rib cage down towards the hips. So this is a pretty active posture. If for any reason this doesn't feel good, you're going to lie all the way down flat on your back, follow the same series. So you guys can take a look down at your knees. You're going to start to march your legs off the mat one at a time. So in this position, you should have a pretty good view of your hips. And as you lift and lower your legs, you don't want to see your hips rocking side to side. Now, if this is feeling particularly easy and you want to progress from here, bring one leg to tabletop and the other leg up to meet it. Notice if you lost your shoulder position, try and press the shoulders proud and then start to lower your legs in the opposite direction. Now, as you lower, notice if your back is also starting to arch. You want to keep pulling your rib cage down as though you have little suspenders between your ribs and hips that get tighter every time you lower your leg down. We go for 4, 3, 2, last time. Now draw both knees in towards your chest. Bring them in really tight. Hug your inner thighs together. We go for a modified double leg stretch. Exhale, press out. Inhale, bend in. Exhale, press out. Inhale to bend. To modify, you push up a little higher towards the ceiling. For a challenge, you press it down a little bit lower. So find that sweet spot where it's hard, but you're able to control the upper half of your body. We go for 2. Last time we build. Scissors. Split the legs and kick, 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 kick. This can also be done with bent knees if you need to modify. Now, sometimes the hamstrings early in class can be a little tight here. We go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend both knees in, feet come down, and we'll lower all the way back down onto the mat. Nice job there, guys. We're going to set up for bridging. So walk your heels in so that you can tap your heels with your fingertips. Feet should be hip distance apart, arms resting down by your side. Before we lift the hips, press into your hands. I want you to keep that open chest feeling and lift the hips to the ceiling. Notice if your shoulders rounded. Keep pressing down into your palms. You should feel the work in your butt muscles. So just work to hold this here. You have the option to just stay here and work in that high bridge. Otherwise, we start to lower and lift, lower and lift. So I want you guys to imagine a hinge door at your hips. You're folding your hips in half and pressing them up to the ceiling. That means that your rib cage is coming with you. So you're allowing the ribs to drop down, the ribs will lift up. Your whole trunk is moving in one unit. Notice your feet for a second. See if you lost the connection underneath your big toe. You want to have a triangle of support under your big toe, pinky toe, and heel. We go for 3 and 2. Lift and hold, pause here. Tiny pulses, still folding the hips down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. So we're still letting that hinge door movement happen at the hips in this teeny tiny range of motion. We go for 8, 7, and 6, 5. Can you hug your knees a little closer together for 3 and 2. Last time, drop the hips all the way down, take a little rest. We're going to walk the feet wide now. So open up the feet as wide as your mat if you have one, a little bit wider than hip distance if you don't, and keep the arms down by your sides. So let's check back in with the shoulders. Press into your palms. Glue the chest open and lift your hips into this wide bridge. Now, when we open up the feet wide, usually our body weight rolls to the outside of our foot. Really find that big toe. Imagine you're still sort of hugging the inner thighs together as if I put a giant beach ball between your knees. Keeping that position, same thing. We lower down and lift, lower and lift. Now, I find that this is very revealing for which leg is working harder than the other. So you might find your legs sort of wiggling in space, one more than the other. See if you can put equal pressure into both of your feet. Ground down through your big toes. Grow rooted to the floor. We go for 3 and 2. Hold up on this one, pause here. Option to just hold. Otherwise, we're going to start to butterfly the knees, open and close, open and close. So opening and closing from the hip, but the hips are not dropping and the feet are not rolling in and out. So my big toe is staying glued to the floor. You should start to feel that outer hip really wake up to create this movement. We go for 4 and 3, last 2 and 1. Roll the hips back down and walk your feet back to a parallel position. We have one more set of bridging here, and this is a progression. So we're going to go into single leg bridge if that's an option for you. If you're relatively new to bridging, I recommend that you do a second set of those regular lift and lowers with the feet parallel. So for those of you trying the single leg, we're going to go ahead and lift into that double leg bridge. Make sure that your hips are even. The weight in under both feet is nice and even, and then you're going to lift the right leg to tabletop. When you lifted the right leg, make sure your right hip didn't drop to the floor. So you're pressing that right hip up to the ceiling, holding, and start to press the right leg out, pull it in. press the right leg out, pull it in. So imagine pushing a refrigerator away with your right foot. You're really working to extend that leg out and pull it back in, keeping the left foot grounded and your right hip crease up just as high as your left. We have one more here. Plant the right foot down. Now we lift our left leg. Hold. Make sure that left hip crease is up at the same height as your right and start to press out. Pull in. That refrigerator has magically shifted over to our left side. And now you're working to push with that left leg. Power through that side, keeping that left hip crease from dipping to the floor like a little string is holding you up to the ceiling. Go for 3 and 2. Last time, bend it in, place your left foot down, drop your hips down, and stretch your legs out long, stretch your arms long. Take up space on your mat. Let your rib cage lift off. Enjoy this full body stretch. This might be the first time you've lied down and stretched like this all day. And we'll take one more breath there as we prepare for roll up. So start with a big inhale. As you exhale, reach your fingertips up to the ceiling, gaze down towards your toes, and curl the spine up, gently reaching forward over your toes. On the way down, we start with the tailbone. We roll back, back, back to lower as our head and shoulders are the last thing to come down. Now to modify, soft bend in the knees, push your heels down into the floor to give you a little bit of extra support here. So go ahead and give that a try. If you would like to try a challenge, you can always cross your arms across your chest and try that same thing. So taking away that support and momentum that our upper body gives us as we restack, rebuild the spine. I'm gonna come up and take a peek at form. I'd like you guys to continue about 3 more there. That looks great. So Lynette, relax your shoulders away from your ear. Karen, same thing for you. So it's very easy as we roll up to find that turtleneck posture. Good. You guys look great here. Rhea, beautiful form. We'll try one more here together. And I know I can't hear your breathing. Hopefully you can hear mine. I want to hear that breathing as you guys come up. And pause at the top. From here, bend your knees, bring your inner thighs together, walk your hips forward. You're gonna bring your hands behind your thighs. This is actually very similar to what we just did, but as a prep for rolling like a ball. So we're gonna start to use the rock backwards from our tailbone. And you can think a little bit about how we started class in that seated position. So we're letting our tailbone rock back, restack. Tailbone rocks back, restack. 2 more. We rock back, and one more time, rock back and hold. From here, draw the rib cage down, create a deeper C shape in that lower back, and then pick your feet up and get your balance. Hug your inner thighs together, just hold. Now you have the option to just stay here and hold this position. If you want to challenge yourself, drop your heels closer towards your bottom. Maybe even hold the front of your thighs, or your shins rather. From here, we're gonna roll back, come up, and balance. We roll back, come up, and find your balance. So I want you guys to be honest with yourselves here. Find that moment of balance at the top. That's the best part of this exercise, is finding that moment where you can really get centered and grounded at the top. Keep your eyes on your knees to protect your neck. And make sure you're rolling just to your shoulder blades. So you're not going all the way back onto your neck. And notice how your body wants to kick your legs forward for momentum. I want to challenge you guys to keep that small ball shape. Enjoy the little massage to your spine on the way. We'll do one more here. And then come all the way on up, take a little rest. Nice work there, guys. So we're gonna build up into our side leg series today. And I'm gonna teach STAR, which is an exercise where you stay up on your knees for a prolonged period of time. That being said, I know it's uncomfortable for some people to kneel. So if that's the case, I recommend that you come to lie down on your side for this whole series. And you can do the same series as us, lying on your side. So if you know kneeling's a problem, go ahead and lie on the left side of your body. Otherwise, we're gonna come up to a tall kneeling position. Let me just adjust my camera a tiny bit there. So a tall kneeling position means, if you were to look at me from the side, that my hips are right over my knees, shoulders right over my hips. A lot of times we kind of end up here to balance. Push your hips forward, draw your rib cage back in. I call it the stomach sandwich. So you get support from your hips going this way, your rib cage going this way, and that way your spine is nice and stable. When you're really stacked appropriately, it should almost feel like you're gonna fall forward. So just find that position. If you're down on your side, just bear with me for a moment. We're gonna be set up and moving in just a second. So now you have even weight underneath your hips. We're gonna start to dive to the left and come back up. Dive to the left. So as you reach over to that left side, see if you can prevent your hips from sticking out to the right. So you're really only moving the top half of your body, your trunk. You're keeping your hips totally still. And you find that control from your core. So make this small, treat it almost like a miniature side crunch. We'll do 2 more like that. And now this next one, dive it on over. You're gonna plant your left hand down, lift your right leg up. Now again, chances are you ended up sitting back a little bit. Can you press your hip forward so your hip is right over your knee? Holding this position, we kick the right leg out and bend, kick and bend, kick and bend. This is called star, because if you lift your top arm up, you look like a nice long star with all the limbs of your body. Can you stay in that broad open posture? Keep reaching that right leg out a little bit farther. We hold it out and pause. From here, we tap down and lift, tap and lift, tap and lift. Good. We go for 3. I'm just gonna go ahead and mute everybody here so you guys get the best sound quality. Very good. And spotlight mine so you can keep seeing me. We go for 2 and 1, hold here, small circles. So imagine I put a little pencil between your toes. You're drawing a perfect little circle with your feet. It's not super big because you want to try and keep your trunk still as you move. We go for 4, 3, 2, last time reverse that circle, retrace that same circle. Can you reach your right leg a little bit farther away from you to support that left side? We go for 4, 3, 2, last time. Now bend the right knee in, push it away. Same sequence here if you're lying down on your side. So you're just moving that right leg in and out, hovering it off the floor. We go for 4, 3, 2, last time. Now this is my favorite part here. Stretch that right leg out, bend your knee. Can you gracefully return back to your tall kneeling position? Easier said than done. Once we're here, go ahead and come down onto your left elbow. So this is for everyone, whether you're down on the mat or not. You're gonna leave your left leg straight and bend your right knee back behind you. Now, if for any reason this feels uncomfortable on your hip, lay all the way down, okay? But you get a little bit more core challenge staying up on your elbow. So from here, straighten the left leg, start to lift and lower. So you're doing a little lift and lower. The nice part about being propped up here is that you can see your leg. So notice if it's starting to fall to the floor, try and lift, 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 while also keeping the space underneath your left rib cage totally still. We go for 4, 3, 2, lift up and hold tiny pulses at that top range of motion. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down onto your side. Make a little pillow with your bicep. And you're gonna stack your legs here. We have a little balance challenge. I want you to reach that top arm up to the ceiling. Maybe just lying on your hips like this is enough of a challenge with your feet floating to stay balanced. If you need to, bring that top hand down. If you want to try, you're gonna scissor your legs. So kick them front to back, trying to stay balanced here. And I have to keep my range of motion quite small to stay steady. So be honest with yourself. You want your hips to stay stacked, shoulders stacked, front ribs drawing in. We kick for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Roll right onto your stomach. Nice job there, guys. So we're gonna settle into a little bit of extension. Hands are flat underneath your shoulders. Open up your feet slightly wider than max distance. And we're gonna start to lift our upper back. You're pressing into your hands, lifting your heart. If this feels comfortable, you can go ahead and press up to actually let the whole back arch. So work within your spine's comfortable range of motion. We're not gonna hold the stretch. We're just gonna move in and out, starting to create some mobility in this extended position. As you lift, notice if your shoulders start to hike up by your ears. Grow long through your neck. Shine your heart forward. Create that arch, not just from your low back, but also from your upper back and your heart. So pull the chest open. We'll try 2 more like this. And last time. And then go ahead and press yourself up and back into a shell stretch. You can let your forehead rest down on the mat. You can breathe up into the back side of your ribs. And just take a moment to catch your breath. I'm just gonna make sure everybody looks good here. Awesome. Okay, so now come back on up. We have our second side. So you guys know what's coming here. So again, if kneeling wasn't for you, you're gonna do this whole side leg series lying down on your side. Otherwise, we're gonna set up by pressing the hips forward, finding that tall stack. So if you imagine a wall right in front of you, you would kind of align your whole front body with that wall. We're gonna go off to the right. So now stretch that left side, dip your right hand down, come back up. Stretch on over and come back up. Beautiful form here, guys. Notice if as you dive to the right, your hips start to reach to the left. Keep your body weight centered underneath both of your knees, creating that movement by lowering yourself down, lifting up. Imagine like you're almost dipping your hand into water and you're not really sure if it's going to be really hot or really cold. You're going slow and coming right back up. 2 more. Last time, dive over, find that right hand down, open that left arm, press your hips forward, draw the front ribs in and open up your chest like you've got a big smile across your collarbones. Hold here. And now we kick and bend, kick and bend, kick and bend. So notice that my left knee is really not moving here. I'm just curling my heel but into my bottom. And that comes from my hamstring, which is on the back side of my left thigh. So it's like I'm really pulling my heel in, pressing it away, pulling it in, pressing it away. Just 1 more there. And now we start to lower and lift. As I lower and lift this left leg, the rest of my body has not changed. So I'm keeping my right hip totally still, shoulders are stacked, and I'm working hard to do so. We go for 4 and 3, last 2, last time, hold here, little circles. Reach that top leg out as far as you can. It's gonna give you support for this bottom hip, which is also working hard. And we change direction, retrace that same circle. Keep reaching out and away from that top hip. You guys can do this, we're almost there, just 1 more change. And we hold, last thing, left knee comes in, push it away. As your left knee comes in towards your chest, notice the tendency for the right hip to wanna sit back. Challenge yourself, press that right hip forward, pulling the left knee in so your bones are moving in opposition. We go for 3 and 2. Last time, press it out, bend the knee. Here's my favorite part, gracefully come all the way back up to that tall kneeling. And then we lower ourselves down onto our right forearm for inner thigh. So straighten the right leg, bend your left knee. You always have the option to lie all the way down on your side if you feel you need that here. Up on the elbow, I want you guys to press that elbow away. Create space underneath your side body. Once you have that, straighten the right leg, start to lift and lower. So small range of motion here. It doesn't have to be a big movement to be effective, but keep that inner thigh active, lifted, lift, lift. Good. Can you grow tall through the top of your head as though your neck just gained an extra inch? We go for 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it at the top, little pulses at the top. Range of motion, we pulse up, 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 up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down onto your side. Make a little pillow with your bicep and stack both of your legs. I find that both of these sides often feel quite different, so just notice it. Maybe you need balance here. Maybe you can challenge your balance, reaching the top arm up to the ceiling. Once you feel steady, start to scissor, kicking the legs front to back. Keep reaching out long through your toes to give yourself stability. Tighten your legs as though they're boards moving in space. 5, 4, 3, 2, last time, and we roll right on over to our stomach. Nice work there, guys. So again, we worked last time pressing into extension. We're going to work up a little bit into our upper back. But when we do the extension this time, I want to make sure that it's not compression into your low back. So what that means is that when you're lifting, if you lift really, really high, it's going to start to compress your low back. You can be just barely hovering off the floor and still make this exercise work. So go ahead, open up your arms as though you're an airplane. Press into your hands, lifting your upper chest. And imagine you have a little flashlight on your sternum or your chest bone. Shine that flashlight forward. So can you open up your heart? Keep your gaze down towards the floor. Now, without losing your height, lift your hands lower. Lift your hands lower. So you're pulling the shoulder blades up onto your back by just lifting your hands. But you can almost think of widening your wingspan. That reach out alone should actually create the movement here. It's so subtle, it's so small, and you really don't need a big range to feel this one working. 5 more, 4, and 3, 2. Last time, lower all the way down, bend your knees, and rinse your legs out side to side. Now we're going to build on that movement a little bit. If you have shoulder sensitivity, I recommend you stick with that first version we just did and maybe bend your elbows a little bit. For our second version, we're going to add some overhead movement. So we're going to set up the same way, pressing into our hands on the floor to draw our chest open, but this time bring our elbows back by our side. And I want you to imagine like these are wings, the way that birds might tuck their 2 wings back in after they're done flying. Feet are down heavy on the mat, and we reach forward, pull back, reach forward, pull back. As you do this, notice how your body wants to flop down when you pull your arms back. It is a lot of work to stay lifted in this extended position. Can you draw your rib cage up and in like you're giving your stomach a little hug as you reach for 5, 4, and 3. Last 2. Last time, pull in, place your hands down, push yourself up and back, rounding into that second shell stretch of the night. And enjoy this. Take that full body stretch, especially as we just did so much extension. Let your head rest down and breathe. All right. So we're going to come on up and start to work in the all fours position. So set up for this one is hands right underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. Yes, you guys can still see me there. Okay. So for hip and knee sensitivity, you might want to pad your mat a couple of times, roll it up to give yourself a little bit of extra padding. For wrist sensitivity, you can come onto your forearms. You can actually do this whole set that way. It looks just a little different, but that's totally fine. So let's find our cat-cow motion here, allowing your head to drop down and your spine to gently extend, and just explore your spine's full range of motion. And then go ahead and settle somewhere right in the middle. So our neutral spine is a flat upper back with a small curve in our lower back, just like our spine might look if we were standing up. So once you find that position, reach your right arm out in front of you, your left arm back behind you, and just hold for a balance. Unlock your left elbow, dial your left hip crease down ever so slightly, and reach your fingertips and toes so far away from one another that you feel like your whole spine actually grew an inch. We hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down. Maybe shake out your wrist a little bit, and then we're gonna go right into that second side. So we reset. Take any modifications you feel you need. Make sure you find that true neutral spine first. Your start position means a lot through this exercise. So now we reach the left arm out in front, right leg back behind you, and we hold. Can you take your right shoulder out of your ear? Unlock that right elbow. Keep your navel pointing down towards the floor. Reaching those fingertips and toes so far away like someone has a string and they're stretching your body out long. We hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down and take a rest. So we're going to try one more set of those on each side. And I'm going to add in a little bit of optional movement. If you felt really wobbly there, I just want you to work on your balance. If you feel pretty strong and comfortable in that posture, we're going to add in some movement. So we'll set up again. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Find that strong flat back neutral spine. Reach your right arm in front and left arm back behind you. Hold your balance here. Now, if you're comfortable, you're going to tap down, arm and leg, and lift. As you tap and lift, nothing is disrupted through your spine. So you want to imagine, like I just put maybe your dinner on your lower back. You don't want to spill one drop of that food. Notice if your neck is starting to sag. Can you pick your head up? Unlock that left elbow. Push your left hand into the floor to support your upper body. Go for 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back in. Shake it out. We have just one more there, second side. When you guys are ready, return back to that all fours. Remember that your two sides might be different, so maybe you take a different modification here, and that's fine. Left arm reaches out long, right leg long back behind you. Hold. If you're steady, add in the tap and lift, tap and lift. Think a little bit about your right leg here. Make sure it's totally straight. So the lift happens from your hip, not down at your knee joint. So maybe make it a little bit smaller, but straighten the right leg. We go for 4 and 3. Unlock that right elbow for 2. And last time, come all the way down and take a rest. Nice job, guys. That was quite the series. So the next thing we're going to try here is also similar to all four setup, but we're actually going to come to a plank. And we'll do a familiar exercise. Many of you have heard of mountain climbers. We're going to do kind of a Pilates version of that, which is way slowed down. And I think that exercise is much harder done slow. So I want to show you a couple of options. You can do this exercise up on your hands and toes. You can come onto your hands and knees. You can also do forearms and knees or forearms and toes. Okay, so any number of those options are fine. If you do choose to come down onto your knees, you're just going to work on holding that plank. So you're not going to add in any of the leg movement, which is fine. But for those of you who are going to add in the movement, make sure that you're up on your toes. So we'll set up in your nice all fours posture again. And this all fours posture is the foundation of your plank setup. So now reach one leg back, the other leg reaches back to meet it. You're in a strong plank position, and without disrupting that dinner plate on your lower back, pull one knee in and press it back. One knee in and push it back. So you're alternating, pulling one knee in towards your chest, but I want you to think of pushing the opposite leg long back behind you. So you're using the pressure of that straight leg to keep your body strong and steady. We go for 4 and 3, last 2, last time, come all the way down and shake it out, take a breath. Awesome job, guys. We've got just a couple things left in class. So go ahead and find a seat on your mat. We just did lots of kind of forward bent over lifting. We have one more plank, but this time in the reverse plank posture. So hands are going to go about 6 inches behind your bottom. If you have hip, knee, back sensitivities, you're going to bend your knees and lift like so. If you feel comfortable extending your legs, you're going to keep your inner thighs together, feet down. And I just remind you guys, please keep your microphones muted so we get the best sound quality. So from here, open up your chest. So if you feel your shoulders rounding, press the shoulder blades together, push into the floor, get tall through the top of your head, straighten out the legs, and we start to lift the hips and lower. We lift the hips and lower. If you're modifying, bent knee lift and lower. The challenge here is as you lift and lower, can you keep your chest open, collarbones back, and chest broad? It takes quite a bit of work to hold that position while moving the hips in the opposite direction. 3 more. Last 2. Last time we lift, hold, press that chest tall, reach the legs out long, keep your gaze down towards your toes. We hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down, soften your legs, reach your fingertips forward, take a nice spine stretch. Now, even in this spine stretch position, I want you guys to think about your rib cage. Can you pull it in, creating roundness to actually stretch the back side of your spine? So imagine like you've got a beach ball in front of you. You're reaching up and over, finding that length. Shoulders are relaxed down by your ears. We take one more deep breath here. And then we're going to roll all the way back down onto the mat, allowing your head to come down and take a rest. So I want you guys to just take a minute here. Notice how you feel on the mat lying down compared to the first time we got here during class. I know I certainly feel a little bit more tired, but also quite a bit looser. So I hope that's the same for you guys. We've got one more big exercise here, which is our teaser. So I want to show you a modification first, and then we'll go over the full exercise. So you can certainly modify with the regular roll-up that we did. You can also modify bending your knees. So traditional teaser is with straight legs. You can always bend your knees here. And then we'll roll all the way back down. So I'd like everyone together. We're going to try 3 of them. Reach your arms long overhead. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, make sure you can see your toes, and then scoop and lift, come up to that tall teaser position. From here, we roll our tailbone back, lower down, nose and toes at the same pace. Reach your arms long overhead. We have just 2 more. Big inhale. As you exhale, you have the option. You can always bend those knees in to modify. We rock the tailbone back, slowly lower, nose and toes come down at the same time. We have just 1 more, but prepare for a little hold at the top. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, curl up, scoop, lift, get tall through your chest and hold. Slowly challenge yourself, if you would like, this is totally optional, to pull 1 knee in towards the chest at a time. So I want you guys to think back to those mountain climbers we just did. This is the same thing. Can you keep your trunk still, pulling those knees in? Just 1 more here. Reach the legs long, roll that spine back down. And once you're down on the mat, give yourself a little pat on the back for taking that challenge. We're gonna roll to our side, and it doesn't matter which one because we'll do both sides here. So just make a little pillow with your biceps and then bend your knees in towards your chest. We'll do a little chest opener. So keeping the knees stacked, go ahead and reach your top arm down towards the floor. And then you're gonna reach it up and over, finding the mat behind you. So I like to call this one book opening. You're imagining here that your top arm is like opening a page of a giant book, and then you're closing that page. Now with shoulder sensitivity, you can always just bring your hand to your chest and practice opening and closing your chest to the ceiling. This is actually a stretch that's geared towards the upper back more than even the shoulder. So the shoulder stretch is just kind of an added benefit. If you feel this in your low back, bend your knees in closer. So that just means that the rotation is happening in your lower back rather than your upper back. One more here. Good, guys. I'm going to sit up, but you can just roll to the other side. I just want to continue to be able to see you guys. And same thing, make a little pillow with your biceps. Bend your knees in nice and close towards your chest. Reach that top arm out in front of you. And then we reach it up and over, back behind you. So nice and slow, finding the reach up and over, enjoying that gentle stretch for the upper back. You can always modify and hold the hand across the chest and just allow your neck here to gently move along with your arm. It doesn't have to move a lot, and it certainly shouldn't be a strain, but you can allow your neck to move a little bit here as well. We'll do two more. Good. And one more time on this side. And then go ahead and press yourself up to a gentle seat. So we're going to finish in sitting again today. So find any comfortable seated position that works for you. And you can even kneel here if that's better. I'd like to finish with 3 community breaths together. So circle back to the beginning of class. Think of that expansion of your rib cage. I'm sure that after doing all of this, your ribs are a lot more flexible. So big breaths, and we'll take them all together. So take a big inhale, reach up tall to the ceiling, and exhale, let it go. Again, big inhale breath, we reach. Exhale, let it go. Last time, big inhale, reach, get taller, and exhale, let it go. You guys are all set for today. Awesome, awesome job. I had a great time working with all of you guys. You all did wonderful. Your form looks great. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them into the chat. But I hope that you guys can stay for just a moment so Ramani can talk us through the feedback app.